This past Sunday at SummerSlam, we saw Chelsea Green do the unthinkable of becoming the interim WWE Women's Champion. And now, after being a part of the wrestling world for over 13 years, Chelsea Green is indeed a world champion in WWE. But the question is, who should be her first challenger? Well, I think the answer is pretty obvious, but we're going to be going by based on everyone that competed in that same ladder match on Sunday, as well as the addition of Rhea Ripley, the current WWE Women's Champion, and excuse me, and as well as both Julia and Nia Jax, who attempted to qualify but failed miserably due to, well, excuse me, due to various dumb reasons, which I'm pretty sure you guys already know what those reasons are. So let's start with Chelsea Green's BFF, Tiffany Stratton, the current United States champion. Excuse me. Obviously, we know that Tiffany Stratton is a former WWE Women's Champion in her own right. Excuse me, via the Money in the Bank cash-in from a little over a couple years ago. Excuse me. However, it seems that WWE has decided to not give Tiffany Stratton any more opportunities at said WWE Women's title, as they want her to continuously put her focus on the Women's United States title, which she has held for a little over a couple of months now, which has been such an amazing reign, by the way. With at least like 3 or 4 title defenses already, not too shabby. Not gonna lie, it's not that bad of a reign. However, excuse me. I think a battle between BFFs like Tiffany Stratton versus Chelsea Green, I think the idea would just backfire because WWE knows that the fans, they don't want to see BFFs fight. You know, like Cody and Punk from this past Saturday, that's one thing, right? Like, that was one thing that got very personal very quickly. But this one, on the other hand, it would just be strictly business. Excuse me. And I'm pretty sure that both Tiffany and Chelsea would take that very, very personally. So, as much as a lot of us would love to see Tiffany Stratton get that opportunity, I don't think it's going to be her. So that leaves Nia Jax, another former women's champion in her own right. In fact, she is actually, I believe, a 2-time champion. Yes, I believe she is a former two-time world champion in her own right. Excuse me. Both of her reigns as champion were pretty significant, to say the very least. I mean, she had a lengthy reign for both. You know, not just in 2018, but also in 2024, a couple of years ago, where as I just mentioned, Tiffany Stratton cashed in Money in the Bank on Nia to win said women's title. And I know that Lash Legend wanted to bring the title home to the Irresistible Forces, but at this moment in time, both ladies are right now they're just putting their focus on the women's tag team titles now being held by Fatal Influence. And I think the anger and frustration that Nia Jax has had over the last few weeks, excuse me, is definitely going to lead to both her and Lash going after the women's tag team titles and just essentially just beating down Fatal Influence like they were nothing. So I don't think it'll be Lash or Nia either. As far as Charlotte Flair goes, I mean, don't get me wrong. I can see her doing the unthinkable of becoming the first ever 18-time world champion in WWE. I can totally see that. 100%. But the fact that she has to deal with Jade Cargill, especially this coming Friday on SmackDown, there's no telling if or when that's going to happen. And I'm pretty sure that her and Alexa Bliss, especially when Bliss does return, they're going to want to go after Fatal Influence and the women's tag team titles. Then again, for all we know, they could go their separate ways, and we could see Charlotte Flair challenge Chelsea Green, which is a possibility. But then again, we could also see Alexa Bliss go after Chelsea Green herself. Possible? Absolutely. Is it really going to happen? At this point, no. I don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I think when I look at Jade Cargill and her entourage, if you will, I think War Games. I instantly think War Games. So it's possible that that's what's going to end up happening at Survivor Series later this year in November. But for right now, we need to watch this play out and see how it progresses. Because for all we know, it could potentially be Jade Cargill and her crew competing inside War Games. Then again, it could be Fatal Influence competing inside War Games, which is possible. And of course, JCJ knows all about War Games because she competed inside War Games several years back when she was a part of the faction known as Toxic Attraction. And even at that time, JCJ was destined for greatness, and look at her now. She's already at the top. She's instantly at the top of the women's division, even in spite of the fact that Chelsea and Rhea are the women's champions right now, even in spite of that. So I don't think it'll be Charlotte Flair, and I don't think it's going to be Jade Cargill. Although, to be fair, knowing Jade Cargill, she'll probably go to SmackDown GM Nick Aldis and beg and demand an opportunity because she thinks that she's all that. But let's be real. The moment she lost all of that mojo, if you will, was the moment that the big three, if you will, Naomi, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair, pretty much just went their separate ways. That was when she lost all of her mojo. But I think she's gained it back because of Michin and BFAB, but that's my hot take on it. But I don't think it's gonna be Jade or Charlotte Flair at the moment. So that does leave Rhea Ripley at the moment. However, if we're thinking reality booking, obviously yes, Rhea Ripley is gonna come back at some point, 100%. If Chelsea Green remains champion until she comes back, then sometime between now and Money in the Bank is when we're gonna see Rhea Ripley and Chelsea Green do battle for the right to become the undisputed women's champion. However, as of right now, because that Chelsea Green need a first challenger, I think, honestly, it's most likely going to be that. Oh, that's hard. I'm like stuck between Julia and Jade Cargill, and the only reason why I'm stuck between those two is because of the fact that while it is true that yes, Jade Cargill did receive a rematch for said women's title at Clash in Italy earlier this year, it became an obsession for Jade to become WWE Women's Champion, and I think after she's done with Charlotte Flair, no matter what the outcome is this Friday, she's definitely going to be going after Chelsea Green and that women's title. And Julia, let's be real, this past Friday on SmackDown, she got robbed. Let's just keep it real. Julia got robbed of being able to compete at her very first SummerSlam. And they decided to give that final spot to Lash Legend, and that match didn't even last 10 minutes. In fact, it didn't even last 5 minutes. It lasted like what, 2, 3, 4 minutes at best, and that was it. So Julia even took to social media and was like, "I'm not done. This may be bullshit, but I'm not done, and I'm gonna continue the grind." So this proves that Julia has reverted back to the Julia of old that we all knew and loved from her days back in NXT. And I can honestly say that this version of Julia could be the most dangerous version of her that we have ever seen. So if I really had to choose between Julia and Jade Cargill, I would have to say Jade Cargill. And I think it's because Jade doesn't want anybody to pin Rhea Ripley to become undisputed champion but her. I think that's the mindset of Jade Cargill. If it does end up being her that takes up that first crack at the Interim Women's Championship, and Chelsea even said it best on the post show this past Sunday, that to her as champion, it's all about world domination. So I think we're going to be seeing a much more aggressive side of Chelsea Green than we've been accustomed to. So maybe some new entrance music for her. Who knows? But if you guys think that I am wrong and you guys think that someone else should take up that opportunity, you guys can always let me know in the comments below. And that'll do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more WWE topic videos in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.